Yes, guys, what's good? You are tuned into Pi Radio, Manchester's #1 youth-led radio station. My name's Gurns, and I am joined today by Shaz. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right. Just to double check, it's Shaz, right? It's not Shays or anything like that.
No, it's Shaz. You've got it right.
Sweet. So, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself, like how you got into music, that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, my name is Shaz, and I am a singer, songwriter, musician. I'm from just outside West London, and yeah, in terms of getting into music, I music has been a part of my life ever since I can remember. I play the piano and guitar and ukulele as well. So I've been learning since I was probably about 6, 7 years old with the piano. And I actually became a qualified professional pianist, I think, when I was 16, and then taught myself to play guitar as well. So I've always been super into music, and I've been writing songs as well since I was a kid. So it's always been the passion, like the way to go. So I just thought it was time now that I should share it and actually put it out for people to hear.
Cool. So I didn't know anything about the whole pianist route. So what was it that made you decide, oh, I want to do more singing rather than going down the piano side of things?
Well, like I said, the singing's always been there as well. Like even as a kid, I would just like be singing around the house, put on performances for my parents and stuff. So it kind of went hand in hand. They're obviously very complementary skills. So it was just kind of natural that with the piano and the musical theory foundation that I had, it was very easy to like write melodies and compose music. And then I also have I have a love for writing. I've been writing songs since I was like 7. I mean, I'm sure you can imagine they weren't the most top quality at 7 years old, but you know, it's been there. So yeah, it just fell together, and it was great.
Sure. So would you say that obviously you've been writing songs since you were like 6, 7, been doing music for time? Would you say that it's always been like that's what I'm going to do, like I'll finish school or whatever and then I'm going to become a singer or I'm going to become a musician?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even as a kid, that was the dream, and all I wanted to do was just sing and perform for people and share music. It's always been the vision. It's just kind of I I think everything just fell into place at the right time recently in terms of the songs I've decided to now release and actually go full steam ahead with this direction. Just happened to, find the right song that I thought, yes, like this should be my first single and stuff. And yeah, it was just the right timing for everything.
So speaking about your music, having listened to I think 3 of your tracks now, so 2 of your own singles and 1 which you're featured on, I'm getting a
Yeah.
very similar sort of laid back, but at the same time, like I want to say too chill because when you think chill, it's like just like it's very much like almost jazzy, but you're very much R and
Yeah.
B. So
Yeah.
who would you say that you look up to in terms of in the music industry, whether they're dead or alive, just anyone?
Yeah, I mean, you're right with the R&B vibe. It's definitely there. It's kind of mainly the music I listen to anyway, so it's natural that that's also what I would produce a lot. In terms of singing, I really look up to Janae Aiko, Summer Walker, Ariana Grande is like my idol, and Beyonce. So the R&B influences are there, and even for songwriting as well. Janae Summer and Frank Ocean is another one. The way they can just like portray images and stories in songs is super inspiring. And then aside from that, musically, I really look up to Frank, who I mentioned, Childish Gambino, Kendrick Lamar, and you may not necessarily jump to those people if you heard my music, but the inspiration is definitely still there, just in terms of what they do with it. They want to create new sounds, and they have such intricate elements, but they're so simple at the same time.
Mm.
Um, and then yeah, that's something I really want to incorporate in my music and create like a whole soundscape. Um, there's other musicians as well who are just killing the game. Jacob Collier, he's like a music guru.
Oh yeah.
Herbie Hancock is a bit of an older one, but an iconic jazz musician. And these are people who they just really know music, and like I love to just like geek out on the musical theory and see all the cool things that they do with their sounds. So listening to stuff like that as well really pushes me to focus on the musical foundations of my songs as well, and just to make sure everything is musically there. So so many musicians.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes a lot of sense, the musicians that you've mentioned. I'm curious as well, obviously, within those top musicians that you've mentioned, not necessarily any Asian artists, which might be a comment to be made about the maybe current lack or previous lack of Asian artists in that sort of R&B field. But I wanted to ask, how have you personally found it? Obviously, you've been doing music for a while, but it's only just recently that you've actually started going full steam ahead with these singles. How has it been as a South Asian musician navigating this R&B field, which traditionally you wouldn't necessarily see that many South Asians doing it?
Yeah, no, that's true. As you said, it's only been in the industry for about a few weeks, so based on my limited experience, no, I have found it's mostly been good, and there's pros and cons. I find that within the South Asian community, it's actually really great, and you're like celebrated almost, and it's so nice to see people be so supportive and helping people within the community. And I think it's needed, in the older generation, it may not be like the mainstream career choice in this community, but I think that's changing, and a lot of more people are stepping out and becoming comfortable with their passions, which is great to see. And in terms of as an artist in the industry and in the rest of the world, you kind of get the people who know about being inclusive and diversity, and they're really doing their part to push the minorities out and celebrate all we have to offer, because we have so much to offer. And that's really great to see that people like that are increasing in number. And luckily, so far in my experience, I've mostly met people like that, so it's been great. But you always get there is an underlying unspoken barrier, I feel, between South Asian artists and the mainstream, and being able to break through to the mainstream. And I think that, and I hope this barrier is slowly being broken down, and people are only getting more and more open to viewing our communities as mainstream, or whatever you want to call it. Especially as we continue to see like other South Asian artists that smashing the game, like Nav's done it, Ravina. There's an amazing R&B singer called Prit. She's from London. So I think, we can only go up right now. And there's like a certain shift happening in the Western cultural climate right now, I think, and we really have to make use of it. So things are looking up, I think.
No, for sure. And it's nice to see you mention, obviously, these artists which like have been there for time, and not necessarily, it's almost sad that there's still that maybe bit of resistance just in terms of the general population's part to actually even consider. And even if they are incorporated into the mainstream, people are seeing it as, oh yeah, they're the South Asian singer, rather than they're an R&B artist. You know what I mean? So.
Exactly. You've hit it right on the nose. And I think people even try to, like marketing people or PR people, even try to build on like the selling point is the fact that they are South Asian, listen to our, as if they're filling out a diversity quota, you know what I mean? Rather than just, if there's genuinely the influence of, yes, this is a South Asian influence, 100%, this should be promoted and it should be highlighted, but it shouldn't be used as like a, tick in the box, like, yes, we've pushed out a minority artist. So I think that's something we should keep pushing towards.
Yes, fine line between positive discrimination and just doing things for the sake of it. Like ultimately, South Asian people don't want to be hired just because they're brown. Like they should be for their actual talent or their actual skills, etc.
Exactly.
So, for sure. So getting back to your music, obviously, when this goes out, your most recent single, "Out of Your Mind," will be out. And that will be available to stream, so everyone listening, make sure you go and give a listen to that. But we're also going to be playing it just after this. But yeah, do you want to just tell us a bit about that track, how it came about, what it's meant to mean, all that type of stuff?
Out of Your Mind, this song, I wrote the song for a friend, actually, from their perspective, as an outlet for what they were going through, and I saw them go through firsthand. And it's kind of about those sometimes toxic relationships that are too common these days. and just all the emotions involved in that. There's so much to unpack. There's a lot of like passion and love and anger and all the feels, and these situations where I think a lot of the time it mostly happens to the girls a lot, and they're made out to be kind of these psycho girls. But you know what, most of the time you see a girl like that and you think, oh, she's crazy, but if you take a look at her man, more often than not you'll see the real crazy business that's going on, and how they make the other partner become crazy like that. So this whole topic I think is very relevant right now, happens so much, and I really think and hope that a lot of people will be able to relate to this one, and will kind of not hope, because it's kind of like, I'm sorry that you can, if you can relate, but it's here for you. It's situationships, man.
Yeah, I mean, if my girlfriends will listen to this, I don't know what you mean about that, but yeah, I totally get. In terms of like obviously mainstream media, obviously we've got stuff like Love Island and this whole like Tinder epidemic in itself, and it's very much like this. Things are so much more casual now, and so much more potential for people to get hurt or feelings get involved. Where
there's too many options out there these days now. It's because there's social media and everything. It's a whole new world, and it's like you could be in London thinking, oh, there's a better girl out there in America that I could get with. I can DM her, shoot my shot. You know what I mean? Like people weren't, they didn't have these options before. So I think it just creates that mindset of like, there's always something better, and that makes people treat any option kind of just as, oh, I could do better. And so it's interesting. I mean, it's the way our world's headed into in the modern like society. So it's times are changing, the dating game's changing, but you just kind of have to give people the respect they deserve, I think.
Yeah, and that's what we write songs about it. It's relatable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously this track, like the last one that you were featured on, you've worked with ksxingh. So I'm not sure. You know what it is as well? I only ever see artists like actually written down like on Instagram and stuff like that. So I never actually know like how to pronounce it, but I think it's ksxingh, right?
It is ksxingh, don't worry, you've got it right.
Sweet. So how has it been obviously working with him for a second time, and how did you guys actually meet? Because I saw that he's based in Derby, so how did that link up happen?
Yeah, well, ksxingh, he's a dear friend of mine actually. We met at university through just mutual friends, so we kind of met as friends first. But yeah, he's such a talented producer, and he has this really great musical sense in himself. I recommend everyone to go listen to his stuff and his mixes, and they'll understand. And when we're making music, we kind of we started just jamming together. Like at uni, we just thought, okay, like let's just meet up, see what ideas we have and whatever, and it kind of just spiraled from there. And now, like when we're making songs, it's just so easy, and like so many times I'll think of something like, oh, we should do this to the beat here, and next thing before I've even said it, he's automatically done that exact thing himself. So it's great to kind of be on that same wavelength with someone and have that comfort when you're making music, especially. And I think that is actually makes songs sound much better when there is that comfort and ease there. And yeah, it's been great having someone like a friend to work with, and there's truly like no formalities. I can like say whatever I feel to him. So I think it's a great partnership, and we make good music together.
Yeah, I would totally agree, and I think it's nice as well, having only listened actually to the two tracks, like Out of Your Mind and Need a Little. He's definitely got that like signature sound, like that kind of guitar type thing, and it's like nice because it's like a signature feel, but then it doesn't feel like it's exactly the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he always manages to make it kind of something new, but you can still tell it's that ksxingh influence. It's amazing.
I actually wanted to speak a bit about your debut single as well, Only One. So, and obviously that's actually how we came to know of you. So, and I did really like that, the whole vibe, like just everything about it. So I wanted to know, like, how did that song come about as well, and what made you want to choose that as your first single, like what you were going to be like represented as to all these new people?
Yeah, only one I wrote last year actually, during lockdown, and that came about when I heard some music, some kind of instrumental, and I immediately heard like this melody in my head. And this is kind of my creative process with most songs when I write songs. It always comes with a melody first. So literally immediately I had it in my head, and I quickly like put some words down to it, and it took me like 10 minutes, and only one was born. So it was a very like instinctive, natural process of making this song. And I sent it to ksxingh straight away, and he was like, yeah, let's get this going. And we made it, I think maybe within a day or two. Like it was very, very quick. And I knew I had something here, because I think it has a lot of elements that were right in terms of releasing it as a single, and especially my debut single. It has that, that catchy chorus, and I thought this will be good to kind of, I'm trying to be stuck in people's heads and stuff. So I thought that would be a very good element, and it just has the right vibe of like chill music. It was the right message to send for the first message, because this is the kind of chill music that I want to make, and a lot of my other songs have that similar vibe. So it was just very obvious. And I also think the lyrics of the song and the content of it is kind of sentimental, kind of emotional and stuff as well. And I also I just thought that was a very good, that's something that would resonate with a lot of people as well, and touch them hopefully. So it was a lot of elements that kind of just had the recipe for a very good single. So that's why I wanted to go with that one.
Sure, yeah, and I think it's really nice as well. I didn't know that that was, yeah, again with ksxingh, so it's nice you've done like all this work together.
Yeah.
Um, as well, I think what drew me towards it as well, obviously the melodies were nice, but also like your voice as well, it is very calming in that sense. Like it is like it's very well suited to that sort
Oh,
of music, which is why
thank
I'm
you.
glad that you're not necessarily like thinking, oh, I need to go down this path like so that I fit in with exactly where everything's at the moment, but you're
Yeah,
kind of sticking to
yeah,
what's best for you, which obviously doesn't mean that you can't venture out and do
yeah,
different
of
stuff in the
course.
future. But like, yeah, it is really nice. I just wanted to say, like, yeah, like
No,
I'm
thank you.
impressed.
Oh, thank you.
No, no
That was
worries.
the vision, yeah.
Cool. So coming to the end of the interview now, do you want to just tell me a bit about what you've got planned for the future?
Yeah, I may have another single or two coming after this very soon in the future, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. But yeah, I'm mainly working on my debut EP right now, which I'm hoping to drop soon after. Um, and my EP, it's called The Car Ride Home, and it's a collection of about 5 songs with an interlude, intro, and outro as well. It's kind of like a concept album. So the whole vibe is, the idea behind all the songs is, I just think they all perfectly match that late night drive vibe. Or just, when you're in the car driving and you're blasting your tunes and you're vibing to them. That's like one of my favorite things to do. And I literally think that these match that vibe like to a T. So I hope people will do that with this album or the EP. And the whole project's duration as well should probably last you good for like a 20-minute drive somewhere. So it's the chill vibes, R&B vibes. Lyrically and content wise as well, the car ride home, I guess, can have two meanings, because it's kind of about, maybe like a breakup songs or whatever, like a relationship ending, and then towards the interlude, towards the middle of the EP, you kind of see songs that express the emotion of when you either go back or want to go back. And I think everyone grapples with this cycle of like of a relationship at some point in their life. So you will see that, and then towards the end of the EP, the songs circle back to your realizations that maybe I should move on from this, and this wasn't good for me, and accepting, coming to terms with those things. So it's kind of like a journey home, if that makes sense as well, within yourself. So it's double meanings. There's a lot to probably unpack, but yeah, it's very exciting, and I'm very excited for people to hear it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm really excited to hear that as well, because I would definitely agree that the music of yours that I've heard so far is definitely what you want. Like, I know exactly those vibes that you're talking about, and it's like purpley dark outside and you're driving and it's very casual.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
sunset is a main character in the whole scene.
No, definitely. So, do we have an approximate date or time when that's going to be released, or you're not sure yet?
There is still not, we're not sure on the exact date, but planning to release this before the end of the year. So hopefully in the next few months for sure.
That's good because it means that it's going to be shorter days, which means more time to drive around listening to it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. All right, well, that's about us done. But thank you so much for joining me today, taking the time to speak to me.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, no worries. So, if people listening to this are interested in keeping up to date with you, where can they find you on socials?
Yes, I'm on Insta, Twitter, TikTok, all the socials by the name Shivangi Garg, which if I need to spell it, it's SHIVANGIGARG, and then there's an underscore on Insta. But essentially, if you search Shivangi Garg or Shaz, you should be able to find me. Spotify as well. Shaz, that's my artist name.